Glad to be here.
How you doing, Paul?
I'm exhausted. I'm mentally and physically drained. Today was bad.
As per usual. Yeah, no, I understand.
Yep. Nothing
No,
nothing too new though.
no John this week. He's at a convention. I forget which one. I forget the name
Indie
of it. It's
PopCon, I
not
think.
Indie PopCom, and it's in Indianapolis. Or
I
am I just
think
mixing up the word indie?
so. I
Okay,
don't
it's a
remember.
it's a convention I had never heard of. So, and
Yeah.
then he's off to PAX,
Yes, next
which
week.
which is funny. Like I took this PAX off after going to a few of them in a row,
Yeah.
and it's like everyone decided to go to this one. But oh
Yeah.
well.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Oh well, yeah. Well, okay. What's new with you? Anything cool in the last week?
I finally started up oh my god, Only Murders season 3. I was
Nice.
I was wondering if I was just gonna leave it because I like to binge that show, and yeah, same problem that like episode 1 ended. I was like, well, I gotta watch episode 2. Episode 2 ended. I'm like, oh, I gotta watch 3, but like my girlfriend needed to go to bed because she worked the next day, so I was like,
Sure.
okay, that's gonna at least force me away so that we can like get a couple more in the next session.
I just finished the latest one. 4. It was pretty good. That was a good
Yeah,
episode. Um, I think you need to check out After Party
after
if you're
party.
enjoying some like comedic murder mystery show. That's the other one. That's also season 2 is happening right now, so that you have a full season of that one, and then the second season you can also watch. I think you'd be into it.
Okay. I've seen ads for after party and stuff, so that might be something we check out.
Definitely recommended. Yeah, I'm watching both of those shows right now. And Ahsoka. I've only seen the first episode. There's 2
Right.
of them out. Um, yeah,
Oh,
lots of TV right now.
did that only start this week though? Did they just release 2 on the jump, or was
They
it last
released
week?
2.
Okay, gotcha.
This week they released 2. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
So I'm liking it. I feel like I would get a lot more out of it if I had any familiarity with this character, because I didn't watch Clone Wars or what any of the cartoons she was in.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm liking it. It looks good. Um,
Cool.
she's got 2 lightsabers.
Yep. True.
So
Cool.
looking forward to the remainder of that for sure.
Nice.
But in terms of stuff going on with me in the last week, would you like to hear about my time at PlayStation?
Yeah. So you can finally talk about that, I guess, because that's
I talk
out.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is out. Not this week. The video went live. If people didn't see on my Twitter and stuff, I got to put up a video of PlayStation's new handheld device. But I went to PlayStation last week and I just couldn't talk about it. I teased Paul and John about it, but I wasn't allowed to talk about it or tease that I went there. But yeah, I got to go to the headquarters, which was pretty cool. The lobby, they have one of every console they've put out, including every like iteration. I think
Right.
maybe they didn't have all of the PS2s because there was like a lot of different PS2s, but they had every PSP. Um, they had multiple versions of the PS4 and stuff. So that was just pretty cool to see all of that. But so I was just like, I was there with someone from work who was with the camera, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been here before." Whereas I'm just kind of like losing my mind, being like, "Hee hee hee, this is so exciting." He's also not like a game person, whereas
Oh
this is my
yeah.
wheelhouse. So,
Sure. Yeah.
um, but it was cool, and it was also a little nerve wracking because I had to do some like stand up A roll to camera while like PR people were also in the room just watching, and I'm already like not great with like doing the on camera stuff. I don't do a ton of it.
Hmm.
So just having like an audience was also super weird. But anyway,
Oh
that
sure.
video turned out really well. Um,
Cool.
and
Yeah. No, I'm
like
glad to
and
hear.
it was fun seeing, because I woke up and it had already gone live because of the embargo date, and I was just seeing like people kind of learning about it, the public learning about it on Twitter and stuff.
Mhm.
Wario64 linked my video in like his announcement tweet, quote unquote. So that was just cool.
Nice.
I was looking on like Reset Era to find like the thread that's obviously talking about it, and people are like going through my video and stuff. So I'm just seeing my face and stuff in the Reset thread. It was just wild being like, these are the forums that I often look through, and now I'm actually generating the content
Nice.
that these people are now discussing. So that was a cool feeling.
Yeah,
There was
that's
even a
awesome.
very brief moment where I was going to get interviewed for a TV station to talk about the device.
Oh, wow.
Because
Okay.
I guess some of our reporters, some of our typical hosts do this thing kind of regularly. But I guess also TV stations are apparently chaotic, and they like double booked it, so it fell through actually kind of quick. But there was like 15 minutes there where I was like, "It's cool, I'm gonna be on TV tomorrow."
Nice. Yeah, I did have a
Maybe that'll
question
happen.
for you, because you
Yeah.
said that they had the like every console or whatever. In Astro's what, not Playroom? Is it Playroom? The one that I played, the new
Playroom.
Playroom. They have like a bunch of stuff that I remember talking about on here that I've never even seen in the wild in my life, like a PSP microphone or something like that.
Sure,
Like, just
yeah.
did they have any of that like on display?
No, they didn't
Okay.
have any of the accessories. It was just the handhelds and the consoles.
Okay, gotcha.
So Astro's Playroom is a more complete. Well, I wouldn't say complete because it doesn't have everything there, but it definitely
Right.
has some of the weirder stuff, which is fun because it's like, here's a super like high res 3D model we put together of this accessory from the PS1.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's a fun love letter, that game for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have some of that stuff throughout the office. I
Oh, I'm sure
literally
they
was
do.
in the lobby,
Yeah.
went through like 2 hallways into a pretty empty room that had like a couch and a TV hooked up to do this demo for the Portal and the new headphones and stuff coming out. It is funny. So yeah, it's called the PlayStation Portal, which makes it the PSP again.
The PSP. Yep.
Which I thought was pretty funny. Anyways, we'll talk more about it in detail when it comes on news. But I just thought I'd share some like behind the scenes kind of stuff. And if you had any questions about what it's like going to PlayStation, now is a good time. So
Were people happy looking? Like, did you look around and people are like, "Yeah, I love working here"? Or were they like, hit smacking the keyboard, just trying to get shit done?
there wasn't a ton of people in the office, which I'm not surprised because
Right.
it's 2023. So I also got there like, my appointment was from like 4 to 5, so people were kind of like leaving the office at this point.
Oh, sure.
And then the people that I was interacting with the most time, they were all smiles because they were like PR people. So of course they're going to be all smiles.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, hey, here's hoping I get to review that thing. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But hey, let's do the podcast. It's Top Down Perspective for August 24th. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
And Paul, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, dude, so much Baldur's Gate. I'm a chunk into Act 2 now, so it's been literally just Baldur's Gate every single night for the last, at least, week. The last 2 days I haven't really, because I've been catching up on Gamescom stuff, which I'm sure there's probably stuff about later. So we'll talk more about that.
Sure.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate, man. Holy hell. There is so much in that game, and I think the thing that is amazing to me so far is I'm now, I think, 30 to 40 hours somewhere in there in, and there hasn't been like one miss with the voice acting and writing for me where I was just like, oh, that was kind of like a lame line, or that was like not very good. It's been solid the whole time. Like, what type of black magic are those people doing?
Yeah, I mean, so when the game launched, there was some discourse. I think it was over like an IGN video about like, this is like the new bar that games should be now.
Yeah, AAA games specifically, because I don't think anybody expects indies to be able to do this. I hope.
Well, I'm falling down on the side of I don't think you can expect many games to do this because there was a lot going for Baldur's Gate 3. It was in early access for a long time.
Right.
So
you can definitely expect companies to not be beholden to people rushing their game out and letting them have time, but that's a business thing. That's not a development thing.
I just feel like if you come down on the side of like, this is the new, like, the new bottom line, this is what you should be trying to hit every time at the least, then what you're saying is you want every game to go into early access and you want to pay for games ahead of time when they're unfinished, which that could be a stance for you for sure, but that's what you're asking for, right?
Yeah. But It's also one of those things where I don't recommend people ever buy an early access because you usually get a broken ass product.
I mean, it is a gamble. That's literally the entire point of it. But, you know, it can be really great too because they get to take all this feedback. They get to work on the game while bringing some money in. Like, you know, Baldur's Gate 3 is clearly a success of that. Hades, clearly a success of that. I'm sure there's other ones that I can't think of at the top of my head right now. But
yeah,
sometimes it absolutely is a great idea. But
also,
I've also been hearing
Baldur's Gate 2 is kind of garbage the way it's made because I finally hit the like points where, oh, this literally just bricked me and I have to find an autosave from 3 hours back to like catch up and sort of like Baldur's Gate is still kind of a giant piece of shit technically in a lot of ways because of course it is. It's a huge game. So it's really just though it makes a really solid first impression because that's the thing that was in early access is the like first like 30 hours of the game or whatever. So
yeah. And I have been hearing the later in the game you go, the buggier it gets. Because
I heard Act 3 was almost unplayable for some people, which is sad.
And I mean, it's also kind of a perfect storm for this team. You know, they did both the Divinity games, which are Baldur's Gate adjacent, and then they get to, so if anything, like this is their third shot at a D&D, you know, quote unquote clone, depending on which IP we're talking about. So it's like there's a lot of things that had to line up for Baldur's Gate 3 to come out as good as it did, and you know,
and it's still broken.
For Larian.
In a lot of ways, it's still broken, but it's broken in a way that we all love.
I'm still playing it. I actually have not played a ton of it this week. I'll get into what I was playing, but I played a little bit more. I'm still in Act 1. I just got to the under something, I think.
Yeah, the Underdark. Well, have fun dying all the time. Fuck the Underdark. I hate that place so much.
I got to do that. That's the next thing to do. So
yeah. That's it, really, for me.
Okay. I've been playing Immortals of Aveum. I got a code for this early. This came out earlier this week, and I talked to you a little bit about this last week. I got a super weird bug, which I guess is only happening on the Xbox Series X, where the game is super dark and also really high contrast. So it looks really ugly.
Did they fix that with the day one patch at least?
No.
Oh fuck, man, that sucks. Because you were hoping for that too.
I was hoping for that for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm in their like reviewers Discord channel, and one of the either devs or PR, I don't know exactly who it was, it said that they're going to be adding in gamma controls. That's kind of the craziest thing is you go into the display settings, and there is nothing there except for do you want the colorblind mode on or off? That is the entirety of their display settings. Which is kind of wild. And I did. So, you know, it's been out for a couple days now. And like I said, they said they're going to put in some gamma settings so you can try and adjust around this. And they were also trying to figure out why this is happening because it's not happening to like everyone. So it's been out for a couple days, and I started Googling because maybe some like users or whatever came up with a solution. They fix it. And I found one guy who did a video. I guess his channel's all about like telling you recommended HDR settings for various games.
Okay, yeah.
Which this game I guess doesn't support HDR, that's another weird thing is if I turn the HDR on my TV off, the game looks a little less dark, like it's a little more easy to read things.
Okay, sure.
But it's still pretty rough. This guy, he's like, here's a way you can fix it. And I guess what causes the bug is when you first launch the game, it says, hey, before you even start, do you want the colorblind mode on or off? And if you like, I wasn't able to like read the text, and it's so long since I saw it. If you like interact with the screen, it causes the bug. Whereas instead, you just have to like hit B or something to get past that screen. I can't exactly tell you. Yeah, and then it's gonna be fine. But the only way to get back to that setting where it's like the game is you're playing it for the first time is to delete your save.
Cool.
And I'm not doing that. Like I'm like 10 hours into this game, like so I was just like, nope, I'm good. I'm gonna pass. I'm not even gonna risk like maybe if I like move it onto like a USB stick and then delete it. But if I bring the USB stick back, is it gonna like reset it to like the old bug? No.
Yeah. So it sounds
Anyways,
like with this problem, you're 10 hours into this game, so you must like
well,
parts of it or
I
something.
I like playing it.
Okay.
I just wish it looked good because I was literally at a part for like a day or two where I stopped playing because it was indoor. Anytime I'm in a shadowy area like a cave or indoors,
Yeah.
I cannot see what I'm doing. And I
Gotcha.
got to a part that was
Yeah.
heavily shadowed, and I was like, I don't even know how to get through this. And I managed to turn the HDR off and kind of like walk into walls, and I got out of there. And now I'm in like a bright area because I'm trying to get some progress done. Because like I don't know if you know this, but
Mhm.
games are coming out. I need this to
They've
be in the
been
rear
out,
view
man.
mirror.
They've
Yeah, like
been out.
I need I need to get this off my plate sooner or later. I can't just be halfway through this game.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so I've just kind of been like muscling my way through it, and it looks ugly, which is a bummer because I actually think it's really fun. I like the combat a whole bunch.
Hmm.
I learned about this at Summer Game Fest. The combat feels good. You get all the different powers. You get a double jump and a hover. That's awesome. Like,
Hover's pretty good. Yeah. Adding in
yeah,
there.
like it is pretty great. You get 3 spells. They're all color based, and it kind of ends up being like the blue spell is like your first one. It's kind of like a rifle. Red spell is kind of a shotgun, and then the green spell is kind of a machine gun. And it's fun. The green one, the first one you get, it has maybe like 30 bullets, and you can just hold down the trigger and shoot them all. Pretty quickly after that, you can get one that just has like a magazine of 80, and you're just like
Wow.
launching magic spells. It feels so good. It feels absolutely super good, and I just wish it looked better. It's such a weird bug. I've never seen this before. Um, and it's a bummer because they were kind of giving some rough estimates of how long they think the game is if you just mainline it, if you go for like a collectibles and everything.
Yeah.
It's like 24 to 40 hours. Like it's not a short game. This
Jesus.
game wants you to explore, and there's a Metroidvania aspect of like, hey, you should go back to the other areas with your new powers because it'll open up other sides, and you can find more chests and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
every time I'm exploring, it's like, oh, what's behind this house? Oh, a bunch of dark shadows. Well, okay, I guess I'm not going to explore because I can't see if there's something here or not. And that's a bummer because this bug is making me not want to explore and just go through the story. And I would like to spread out a bit, but I literally cannot see what I'm doing if I go off the lit path.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
So I'm hoping it gets fixed soon. I still have half the game to play. I'm liking it. I think the voice acting, I think the characters are pretty good. The main character especially, as well as the captain, who I cannot remember the name, Karkan, something like that. The woman. I think their performances are pretty enjoyable. So I do think it's a cool game. It seems like absolutely no one is talking about this thing.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen from a couple people is wait for a sale, and like I didn't really look more into it because I have too many other things to play. I didn't really care what their opinion was on it. It's like, okay, fine,
Yeah,
good enough.
it is a packed month. It's just going to get worse, so it's kind of hard to recommend this. I do think this game is pretty cool, but yeah, absolutely. Like when things clear up, I think it would be worth coming back to.
Yeah,
Because I am enjoying my time with it. Most of it, I doubt you'll get the bug I'm getting. So what I should
sure,
probably
yeah,
do is just break out the Series S and play it on that, because I've only been hearing that the X has this bug, but
that's so
and I got
weird.
to get it out of the closet and plug it into the TV, and then it's like, here's my Immortals box. I'm like, I don't want to do that, man. Like I'll just play Baldur's Gate 3 for a bit.
And you'd have to download it too, right, onto the S. Or
Yeah, which is not an issue. I even deleted it off the X and re-downloaded just to see if that would fix
oh,
something. Like I
yeah.
got internet for days, man, over here. Like it downloads. I got fast internet, so that's not an issue.
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyways, that's Immortals of Aveum.
Cool.
That's pretty much all I've been playing this week.
All right, cool.
So let's do some news. There's a whole bunch we talked about at the top of the show. Let's talk about the Portal. So yeah, this is what Project Q was, as it was originally titled, is now the PlayStation Portal. The headphones also got named. If the earbuds are the Pulse Explorer, the headset, which we didn't know about, but it was part of the whole demo thing. They're updating their Pulse 3D headset. It's now called the Pulse Elite. Have you been reading any of the info news stories about the Portal?
I have not, because I'm hoping you're going to tell me about it. Frankly, this is not for me. I don't care at all.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like the videos I put up, they're doing super well, and it's because in the comments everyone is kind of shitting on this thing.
Yeah, I figured that would probably be.
Let's get the info and kind of the good news out of it. It's $200, which I think that's pretty decent.
I know a lot of people are expecting more. I still think that's way too high. But again, this isn't for me. So
this was pretty much like the low end of what I could have seen them going with. I could not have seen them going lower.
Yeah, a lot of people said that too. Yeah,
PlayStation, I absolutely could have seen them going higher.
Yeah, for sure,
easily. But they're going lower. It's not an OLED screen; it's an LCD. I'm sure that's helping bring the price down.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It is what we saw in that leaked video. It is 2 halves of a DualSense attached to an 8-inch tablet. Touchscreen, 60 hertz. It has all the functionality of the DualSense. It feels just like using a DualSense, except the thumb pads, the analog sticks, are a little smaller, I noticed, and I asked the rep about that. I guess it's the PSVR 2's analog sticks, which I haven't used one of those in person, so I didn't know about that one. So, anyways, and yes, it is just a streaming device.
Yeah,
it's all it can do. When it is not connected to your PS5, you cannot do anything with this. One thing I learned about afterwards, just from some other people, I didn't ask about it, so but I was just saying, I guess some other people did ask about it. PlayStation Plus, the highest tier gets you access to cloud streaming.
Okay.
You can't use that with this.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So I don't know who this is for.
Play. It is remote play for your PS5.
That's it.
Even though Sony has servers to support a small bit of cloud streaming, this does not connect into that. This has to connect to your PS5.
Okay. So, I think I know the answer to this. There's no chance of, a YouTube app or something. This doesn't connect to the internet where you could, use an app or whatever. It's only through the PlayStation.
There is nothing to do with this.
I don't know.
It is connected to your PS5. I mean, if you have it remoted to your PS5, you can then
through PS5.
It is literally like using your PS5
Yeah.
It is. It'll just mirror it onto your thing. Absolutely. So you could watch YouTube that way. You could watch a movie that way, as long as your PS5 is connected to it. If you disconnect it from the PS5, this is a paperweight.
Man, it's weird to even say, because again, I don't care about this thing, but that's disappointing. That's it. It seems like the easiest thing you could have done is yes, most of the functionality is when you connect it to the PS5, but also we might release an app or two for it one day and it can standalone connect this. The fact that it doesn't do that is insane to me. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, looking at its size, it is much closer to a Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck is not the most portable friendly thing. When I travel, it's do I have enough on my Steam Deck to warrant bringing it? Because right now the Switch is slim. I can slide that in a bag real easy.
Yeah,
the Steam Deck, it can do more, but it's it is going to take up more space in my bag. So that is always a consideration I am having.
And I mean, you have the Play Date. Why would you ever need anything else anyway if you're traveling?
Yeah, exactly. It's got a crank. None of these have a crank. What do you even? And the Playdate was close to 200, wasn't it? But that was you got to be a weirdo. You got to be really into video games.
You have to be a certain person for sure for that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the general, the last line of my video and the article I wrote is basically I already remote play and play my PS5 in bed. I do that. It's a good experience.
Yeah.
I don't know if what they're giving here is going to warrant me spending $200 for something I can kind of already do.
Yeah.
And they were trying to say this is going to be an improvement on remote play. It is not an app you are going to launch and have to connect each time. You turn this thing on and it's ready to go. That is cool. I don't know if that's worth $200 for me, because right now with my Steam Deck, I can connect to my PS5 in 30 seconds.
I think maybe so it seems like maybe what we're thinking about, which makes more sense to us and me specifically is if that this was going to be maybe not a direct competitor to like a Switch or something, but something along that lines where it sounds like they have always thought, no, this is a controller with a screen on it, and that's all it was ever going to be. It's going to be just an upgraded controller.
This is the Wii U gamepad. That is just what this is.
Yes,
I'm sure, to make a Switch competitor, you'd have to put a lot more in here. I'm sure it would have cranked that price up
a lot more.
They would have had that. It would have to probably look different because you would, do you want it to be this big? Is this thing even that portable? Think about cases. Like, this is a weird shape. This thing does not scream to me portable.
Yeah.
Put this in a bag. Like the Steam Deck barely does. This one does not look like it's to put it in a bag.
It's funny because just talking it through to myself just now, I actually see more of a use for this now in that, like, I would probably, between this and like an Xbox Elite controller for like the $100s range or whatever, I'd probably buy this as like another controller or whatever, because that is just like a controller with a screen in it, and I would probably use that more than like being able to like have extra buttons on the back or something like that. So if I think about it as an extra controller that I'm spending way too much money on, it makes a little more sense to me, but I would never do that anyway, so.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they even have an extra controller, a Pro controller, if you really need that. But yeah, no, this is for the TV is being used.
Yeah.
You want to play your PlayStation somewhere else in the house.
You saying the Wii U tablet actually made this make sense in my head. It's like, oh, you're right. That is what that is, actually. Okay.
It's the Wii U. It is 100% the Wii U tablet.
Okay.
But again, like, sure, this is going to be a really nice way to remote play your PS5.
That's it, though.
I have nice ways to play my PS5, and
yeah,
I don't like, because here's the thing, and I can almost see, like, if I get one of these to like review them, I can almost see the line, like, there's a good chance you are watching the video I am filming right now on a phone. I have looked at our YouTube analytics. I can see the devices being used. You're probably watching this on a smartphone.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend $200.
You can do what I'm doing better.
If you already have a PS5, which you will need to use this, that means you have a DualSense. You can connect your DualSense to the smartphone you own, and you've got it.
Yeah.
All you need now is a $7 clip from Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly.
I don't know who the person is where it's like, this fits in my life perfectly. Like, why would you be so against just using your phone, using your tablet, using your laptop, using your computer? Even if you don't have a Steam Deck. Steam Decks are expensive. I get that.
Yeah.
But, like, there are, like, it's weird. It almost seems like Sony's kind of shooting it in the foot coming out. Like, I'm curious what the sales of this thing are going to be like. And if they're bad, then it's like, that's like 3 in a row, Sony. Like,
yeah,
you would think after kind of coming out with 2 failures, and then it's like, let's try something completely different, but also wrong. I don't know. It's a weird device.
Yeah.
On the other end of it, like, it's nice. Like, it's doing a good job at what it's doing, but it's like that use case is just so narrow. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but I don't think you need it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that if I had it, I would probably use it every now and then, but I would never like seek it out or ask somebody to buy it for me for like a present or something. But like if someone just gave me one, I would probably use it a couple times.
I do think Sony deserves like a round of applause for getting the price as low as they did, because I'm sure at one point someone was like, "What about $299?" But I bet that's written on a whiteboard somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's talk about Gamescom. It's happening right now. We had Jeff Keighley's opening night live stream. Did you watch any of this?
I did. I watched all of it.
Yeah, I watched all of it as well. I'm going to just say, I don't think anything brand new really grabbed me.
I mean, the thing that grabbed me is a teaser saying, hey, Killing Floor 3's coming. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm going to install Killing Floor 2, baby. Like, that was basically what
Okay.
and Little Nightmares 3. was also it.
I got the list here of trailers and stuff, so let's just go through. If something interested you, called out, you called Little Nightmares 3. One thing I didn't know, and I don't know if it's just for the third installment, has it always been super massive?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's always been Bandai Namco as the publisher. I don't remember though.
Because Supermassive, I just know them as Dark Pictures Anthology, The Quarry, and Until Dawn. I didn't know they had anything to do with Little Nightmares, but their name came up on this trailer.
It was Tarsier Studios for the first one, and the second one was Supermassive, and Tarsier, or however you say it.
And I believe 3 is both of them again. So
okay, that makes sense.
Maybe they're helping out or something. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then Very Little Nightmares, the mobile game, which also, by the way, is good if people just want like a mobile version of that game. It's pretty good. This is
the first one with online co-op.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about that part. I like the solo play. I was a little bit worried watching the video of being like, is it going to be forced co-op? But they were like, no, you can play alone with like both characters. So that's good.
Age of Empires 4 kind of stealth dropped on Xbox during all this. They had announced it was coming, but they just had no release date, and then it all of a sudden came out, so that's on Game Pass.
Yep.
Trying to think anything else jump out at me.
Yeah, what else was here?
Oh, there's Sonic Frontiers is getting more stages as free DLC.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna play that, but that is a thing.
The thing is that all the games that like I'm kind of waiting for because I know about them. Like I didn't need to see.
That's the thing is there's lots on here that I'm excited about, like Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. Still very excited about that. Alan Wake 2, that was a very cool trailer. Still very excited about that. Mortal Kombat 1, very excited about that. But yeah, nothing really new here. Actually, you know what? That's not true. Dustborn looked pretty cool, like a cel-shaded RPG.
Right, yeah.
Turn-based RPG, that looked really cool. And then there was one near the end, which I don't know if it's in this list, which is kind of messed up. Well, what was the name of it? I tweeted
Thank goodness you're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
That looks great. Published by Panic.
Yep.
Which I don't think they've published anything other than the playdate since Untitled Goose Game. And I guess this team put out a free game back in 2019 that's on Steam, so I want to play that.
It's weird
because this game looks cool, so I want to check that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't say I was disappointed because I wasn't really expecting anything, but I feel like I got what I expected with kind of like nothing too new, nothing crazy.
And another live stream where someone that Jeff Keighley's hosting, where someone ran up on stage to shout some weird nonsense.
Yeah, I think when I was watching that, I just said something like, "Thanks, fucking Bill Clinton kid. Look what you did. Just you little jerk."
Yeah. So for people who don't know, someone ran up there and just started yelling like, "Where's GTA 6? Where's GTA 6?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's annoying and a bummer, but what can you do?
Did you watch the Future Games show yesterday?
No. Anything to call up from there?
Yeah, there's a bunch of like smaller stuff in there. I think there was a few. There's a few things that came out like today. Like Blasphemous 2 came out today, so I'm excited that they showed RoboCop Rogue City. That's I think more of a John thing, but that game looked cool too. I'm pretty sure we've seen or heard this one before. It's called Axolotl, but it's AK and then Xolotl. It's the like weird axolotl type animal or whatever holding an AK-47, and it's like a nuclear throne type game almost.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, okay.
So they showed that again. That looked cool to me. Just a bunch of like little stuff like that, but it's usually pretty fun. There's so many things that they showed in there that I don't know that there's anything like super call out worthy though.
Okay.
No.
Well, so moving on. I think Gamescom is still happening.
It
probably
is.
Into this
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Epic announced a first run program that is opt-in It's an exclusivity program. It's going to give developers a boost in their net revenue share. If people remember a couple years back, Epic came out and said instead of doing the typical 70-30 that everyone else does, mainly Steam, we're going to do an 88-12. And that kind of forced a lot of other people to kind of like match them a bit.
Yeah.
Now Epic is going to give 100% of the revenue to these developers for the first 6 months if they're an Epic Store exclusive. And then I'm assuming it would revert back to that 88 100. So yeah, that's good for them. It's definitely going to get more people or more indie games for sure. Actually, it's probably going to get a lot of AAAs being exclusive too, because that's just free money.
Yeah, double A's, triple A's for sure.
Especially if you only have to do 6 months and then you can go to Steam. Like, why not?
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about at all is that people still have this fuck Epic Game Store thing, and like I don't want that to hurt developers. So I'm hoping kind of that turns around a little bit and developers feel like they can release on Epic for this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the people who are saying that, they're just a vocal minority. And again, this is just 6 months. So if it's that big a deal, just wait your 6 months.
Yeah.
And then
you
can buy it on Steam.
Yeah.
And this developer that you care so much about will just get a little bit less money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it looks like it's open to everyone. It's launching on, let's see, this program is open to developers and publishers with registered Epic Game developer accounts and eligible products launching on or after October 16th.
No, that's a good change. That's awesome. Especially because that's like when, for a lot of people, the hype is the hottest for a game. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it is just another tactic for Epic to do, but at the same time, like, the developer wins here. So like, why not? Good for them. Epic has so much money.
I'm so glad you pulled this next news story, because I heard about this and I wanted to kind of read a little bit more into it.
Yeah, speaking of so much money, this is crazy. So
yeah,
Activision Blizzard, we know the whole merger, it's still going on. And if you remember, the one thing that was blocking it was over in the EU, they said that, no, we don't support this merger or this acquisition, because if that happens, it's going to make Microsoft a monopoly when it comes to cloud gaming.
Yeah.
Which they also kind of said, like, cloud gaming is not really a big thing, but by owning this brand, it will kind of cement them as like the leading, and it'll make it hard for anyone to even become a competitor. So what Microsoft is now proposing, and it hasn't been approved or anything yet, they've just kind of struck this deal. The EU is going to come back and look it over and relook at the deal, is they are selling off the cloud gaming rights to Activision Blizzard titles to Ubisoft.
That's the part that I'm just like, Ubisoft, what the fuck?
It is funny because it was like, we've been talking about this acquisition for what seems like 18 months or whatever it is.
Yep.
Ubisoft's not mentioned once, and then all of a sudden, Ubisoft's here.
Yep.
And so, the morning this was announced, Ubisoft even put out a press release saying, "Yep, Activision Blizzard titles are coming to Ubisoft Plus." Like, it's a done deal as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
Which I guess that part of the deal is done. Like, regardless of whether or not this happens, they're going to do this. So it's so weird. So they're hoping that if Ubisoft is the rights holder for the cloud streaming, it'll make Microsoft no longer the majority on cloud gaming, and the EU will approve it. And this isn't just in the EU. This will be the cloud gaming rights everywhere.
Yeah, that's important to mention. It's cloud gaming rights, period, just in case that wasn't clear.
So weird, my one question, I'm not sure if this article mentions it. Does that mean that these games, let's say they come to Game Pass, they just won't come to the cloud part of Game Pass? Because not every game does get added into cloud.
Yeah, I think you'll need Ubisoft's Plus for it to work, I guess, with Game Pass.
If you want the cloud.
Yes.
Well, or you just don't subscribe to Game Pass, you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, and then you can cloud stream those
for the
games.
Cloud. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
So let me try and find like the money they haven't exactly said the money, but this includes executing an agreement effective at the closing of our merger that transfers the cloud streaming rights for all current and new Activision Blizzard PC and console games released over the next 15 years to Ubisoft Entertainment. And then where's the part where they talk about the money? But it's so whatever was happening, I guess some lump sum is getting paid along with royalties, like a portion based on use or something like that. I can't find the exact quote right now.
Interesting. This is so crazy.
It is crazy. I'm gonna see if the Ubisoft. No, the Ubisoft one probably wouldn't mention how much they have to pay back.
Yeah, probably not.
But anyways, I wasn't expecting this. I'm curious where this goes. Oh, here we go. How exactly will this messy divestiture work? According to the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK, Ubisoft will compensate Microsoft through a one-off payment, as well as a wholesale pricing mechanism that includes the option to pay based on usage. Ubisoft will then have the ability to license out the games to other subscription services as well as pay a fee to force Microsoft to port Activision games to competing PC gaming operating systems like Linux.
Jesus.
So if anything, by Microsoft doing that, they're getting a bit of money back from Ubisoft.
Yeah,
Ubisoft is buying the right to get to do this.
It doesn't make sense to me that Ubisoft even has money, but okay.
I mean, clearly getting access to Call of Duty is the biggest name in the game when it comes to the video game industry. So now that Ubisoft gets a fork in that,
yeah, they're probably set. It's weird because like I think with like on this side where we talk about games a bunch or whatever, we've always known Call of Duty's big, but I think this really, for me specifically, illuminated just how big it is to these people in business. Like it's crazy.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I'm sure every time Ubisoft launches a new shooter, they're like, is this going to dig into Call of Duty at all?
Yeah,
and that's the goal, right?
Yeah,
like
to not even like overtake it because you can't, but like, can it dig into like 10% maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, EA is obviously thinking about that with Battlefield. It is, if you're making a shooter, you have to be considering how Call of Duty affects.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Anyways, we'll see how this once again continues. Reported over from Axios, Immortals, speaking of Ubisoft, the like Breath of the Wild clone that was all Greek themed. Sources are sharing with Axios that Ubisoft has canceled Immortals 2. There's a few details here which kind of made the game sound actually pretty interesting. Let me see where it was going to be inspired from. The player's character would curry favor with various Polynesian gods, gain elemental powers, and shapeshift while gaining new tattoos based on the choices they made as the game's story progressed. I understand it was supposed to be a combination of Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring, is what their kind of inspirations were going to be.
Yeah, like a giant open world RPG. That makes sense. Sure.
Players would be hopping from island to island, each a fictional version of places such as New Zealand, Tahiti, Easter Island, and Hawaii.
That's awesome. Holy shit.
The interesting thing, though, is the goal was to make a game very different from the rest of Ubisoft's portfolio. Ubisoft open world games typically take place across a map that's filled with quest markers, and players are often guided with a compass or arrow that directs them to the next objective. However, the developers plan to drop a lot of those helpers in favor of requiring players to search harder to figure out where to go by tracking animals, following the wind, or navigating via position of the stars in the in-game sky.
It's sad because the reason why this is canceled is 100% because it's too unsafe. They were going to try some new stuff that sounds great to us, and that probably scared people away from it, from greenlighting it. That sucks, because it sounds great. I love this.
In July, as news of the cancellation broke, a Ubisoft rep told Axios the company was redirecting and reallocating some creative teams and resources within the Quebec studio to other unannounced projects. The expertise and technologies these teams developed will serve as an accelerator for the development of these key projects focused on our biggest brands. So this is kind of a bummer when you look back at that announcement that Ubisoft had where they announced like 5 Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, this is like the Raven Software thing of just like, they released some cool games. What are they doing now? Making Call of Duty maps.
Yeah. So
it has that
because
energy.
this would have been cool. To be fair, I don't hear anyone talking about Immortals. I played a handful of hours of that. I thought it was cool, but I didn't finish it.
Yeah, that game is okay.
So maybe I'm part of the problem because I'm also planning to play Assassin's Creed, so I could absolutely be part of the problem.
Didn't that game come out at like the worst possible time too, though? Like that came out in a stacked month, I think, too. Like, I remember it not doing very well and people not talking about it.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I don't quite remember. Yeah. I mean, to give Ubisoft a couple points, that new Star Wars game seems pretty cool, so that might be a little bit different. Although maybe it's going to be formulaic in terms of how open world games go for Ubisoft. I guess we'll see. It could just be Far Cry with a Star Wars skin.
That I'm really hoping it's a little bit more than that, but I cynically think that's what it is already.
Oh wait, I think I grabbed the wrong story. Xbox has announced it is doing console wraps. That's what they're calling them.
Sure. Yeah.
So unlike the PlayStation 5 where you can take the panels off and replace them with a colored panel, this just like wraps around it. So I guess it makes the console a little thicker. They're starting off with a Starfield design that I actually think looks pretty nice.
It's sleek.
It mimics the designs of the controller and the headset that are Starfield themed. That one's going to be $50. They've also announced coming later are two like camo ones that I think look pretty ugly. Those will be $45. So clearly they think they're a little ugly too.
Yeah, I think the Starfield one looks pretty sick. Like I would probably maybe consider getting something like that if I had one of these. These
are expensive. Cool. This is why I haven't pulled the trigger on the PlayStation ones because they're always $50 and it's like I don't care enough.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 also sits behind my TV. I wouldn't even get to look at it.
And I mean, it's not even one of your fellow hosts to put on the console.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, over on the Nintendo side, Charles Martinet is retiring from the Mario voice, from doing all voice acting in Nintendo titles. He is moving on to a brand new role of Mario Ambassador, which I have no idea what that even means.
Figurehead, I guess, just shaking hands, kissing babies.
He's on rotation if they need him for something.
Yeah.
But good job to him. He's been doing it for a long time. He did Wario as well. He did some others. Did he do Waluigi? Did he do Luigi?
I mean, I've always hated Mario's voice, and I don't care about this at all. So I'm the wrong person to ask.
All right. Anyways.
But yeah, no, good for him.
I always heard he was like a super nice dude. He would often show up at a lot of their PR things. So he can finally rest.
He didn't die. Like, finally.
Well, I don't know what Mario Ambassador means.
His soul is at peace.
Yeah. Okay, we talked about this a week or two ago that Baldur's Gate was having trouble coming out on Xbox because they weren't able to hit parity on the Series S with the split screen multiplayer.
Right.
It sounds like they have worked with Xbox to come up with a deal, and that deal is just don't put split screen multiplayer on the Series S. So it is now coming out to the Xbox later this year.
That makes sense.
It's going to have cross save. So that's good because this is probably like my preferred place. I don't know if I'm going to buy it a second time, though, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Said that after meeting with the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, at Gamescom, he was super happy to confirm that Larian found a solution that allows us to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to Xbox players this year still, something we've been working toward for some time. And yeah, it basically is just the Series S version will not have split-screen co-op. But the Series X version will.
Does this lead to a slippery slope of like, well, now that like the gate is open, what other devs are like, yeah, I just can't get it to work actually on this piece of shit, so it's got to come out on the good one, I guess.
Yeah, that has been a thing where some devs have come out and said like it's hard making it run well on the Series S, and but Xbox makes us have to be able to put out a version on both. I don't know, like that's been a question since the beginning. Is the S holding Xbox development back in some way, whereas they could focus on just putting as much into the X version as possible?
Also, like if Baldur's Gate wasn't the giant juggernaut that it became on official 1.0 release, I don't think this new story happens. Like Xbox is definitely like, oh shit, this thing's actually huge. Okay, what can you do? Anything to release this.
Yeah, especially since it's coming out on PlayStation in like a month.
Yeah.
No,
No,
you're
I get
probably
it.
right. As they were like, we need this. This is not a good look.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last news story here is that we have a date for the Game Awards for this year. It's going to be December 7th. This is actually going to be the 10th Game Awards with the
Man,
actual name, the Game Awards.
I can't believe it's already been 10 years of it being
10 years.
this, I guess.
I wasn't planning on going to it again, but I could probably get a ticket to this one since I was able to get one last year. But the 10th one might be kind of a fun one to go to because there might be like some
Yeah,
special
you never know.
10th.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I'm doing in December. But either way, we'll be talking about it after the 7th.
I mean, I'll definitely just watch it live, so that'll be a thing.
I'll watch it live too, either in person or at home.
Yeah.
Let's do some questions. If you want to send a question in, topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box.
Mm-hmm.
And you could sound like a Hive who writes, since this is the Don't Trust the Genie podcast,
True.
favorite movies or series with a genie? Or some genie wish power equivalent.
Okay, I mean the obvious
one that comes to
one
mind is Aladdin.
It's Aladdin, yeah. So let's talk about Kazam, the Shaquille O'Neal rapping genie.
I've never seen it, so I can't. All I can my association with this is the thing where everyone thought Shazam was a real thing.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, people got that mixed up. And now Shazam is a real thing, but just now, not in the 90s, so.
I'm trying to look up other genie stuff. A lot of these are old movies I have never heard of.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, there is the Idris Elba Jinn in the 3,000 Years of Longing. I like half that movie that came out last year.
What about the horror movie series Wishmaster? Which is just like
I've
monkey's
never even
paw
heard of
ideas.
that.
Like just wishes go bad. Because of course they do.
Oh, that's how genie stuff works, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we hate them here.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Wikipedia list of genies in film. There's not a lot.
What about I Dream of Genie?
Again, so my association with that is
The Will Ferrell
Bugs
movie.
Bunny spoof.
Oh, weird.
Where he says, I dream of Jeannie. She's a nice brown hair, referring to a rabbit.
Okay. Oh, no, there is an easy answer to this, and it's DuckTales and the... What is it? The Treasure of the Lost... That sounds stupid. The Lost Lamp movie. Treasure of the Lost Lamp? That sounds like bad English, but I think that's what it's called. It is basically just like a long episode. It's like a little over an hour, but it was...
actually, it is on this list. DuckTales the movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp.
Yo, that movie slaps! It's so good!
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, I think it's just... Yeah, you're not going to beat Aladdin. Robin Williams as the genie? Like, absolutely not. I mean, I watched the live-action Aladdin. It's one of the better live-action Disney movies, which is a very low bar. And Will Smith looks like he's having fun as the genie.
I liked Will Smith in that role, too. Before he became the biggest piece of shit in the world. I thought it was fun. So.
Other than that, yeah, a lot of these movies I've never even heard of. So.
Treasure of the Lost Lamp. Look it up.
Okay.
Next question from VGC Kenny. You got a call from Illumination. They're ready to make more Nintendo movies. And they ask you to be a consultant for the next thing they're working on, which is Kirby, the movie. What ideas or suggestions would you give? Make it animated. Just make it fully animated Kirby. Make the voice actor... I can't say Danny DeVito.
You can't say Danny DeVito again.
Old.
Well, here's the question: do you give Kirby a voice? Because I don't think Kirby ever has speaking roles. And I don't even think they're English when he does have speaking roles. Doesn't he just say like high pitched sounds, kind of like squeals and stuff?
I can't remember. Does he talk in the animated series? Can somebody?
That's the one I watched a bunch of, and I don't believe so. I think he just. Like he's like an animal, kind of.
Yeah, making it an eldritch horror would be hilarious, but
The
obviously,
characters around Kirby talk. The show Kirby Right Back at You. That's the show I'm talking about.
yeah. So he doesn't talk.
I don't
Okay.
know. Does Kirby have enough traits to even be a character? Like Kirby is such a flat character.
Well, he sucks
Pun
and
intended, I guess.
blows.
But like in terms of like the personality, it's he can eat a lot and then he's a hero, right? Isn't that all there is to Kirby?
What else? That's just the American dream, baby.
Guess so. That's true. Yeah.
What
else could you ask for in a hero?
The big question is, who does Seth Rogen voice? Because that fucker is in every single thing now. So.
I could see him doing King Dedede.
God damn it. Yeah.
That lines up pretty well.
Yeah. Or just make him like a Waddle Dee, just like some dumb character that says like one line or something. What other characters
I'm trying to think of like movies where the main character does not speak. And okay, some stuff that comes to mind is like, I guess in the most recent Mad Max, he speaks very little, but he does say a few lines.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything where the main character just does not speak?
Ever? Does Ryan Gosling's character in Drive speak?
I think so.
Yeah, he must, right?
Drive did pop into my head, but I think he does.
The Quiet Man.
I don't know.
Who plays
I can tell
Meta
you
Knight?
I would not.
Voice
Who
actor.
plays Meta Knight? I don't know. Give it to the guy who did the main character in Final Fantasy 16. He's got a good, like, kind of gravelly voice, and he's on Twitter right now pretending to be Mario that swears because they're obviously looking for a new Mario. So give it to that guy.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, people are saying Shape of Water. She's mute. That's right. Okay, and even the monster doesn't speak either. So that's a pretty good one. Wally, that's another good one. Yeah, does Wally make like beeps and boops, or is that because he says Eve. He says Eve like all the time, doesn't he?
Eve. Yeah, he totally talks all. In fact, he doesn't stop talking as far as I'm concerned. Because if you count like little beeps and boops, he makes sounds like talking. He doesn't shut up.
At that point, you're saying like R2D2 doesn't talk. When R2D2 absolutely is conveying emotion with the beeps and boops.
The whole time. Yeah.
I don't know. What would you want? I don't even know what I would want from a Kirby movie. Like
shenanigans, probably. I would want shenanigans. But
I guess I just don't care enough about the like supporting cast.
Delicious looking food, probably. Oh, definitely an eating contest that Kirby just wins. That has to be in there. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Suga writes, as content creators, do you feel like you have a different perspective on video games than the average consumer? Has this hurt or helped your enthusiasm for specific video games?
Dude, like, just like, don't even think about like podcasters, content creators. You listening to a podcast have a completely different perspective on video games than an average consumer. Because average consumers know about the one or two things that they love to play with their buddies every year, and that's it. They don't like think about games that are coming out or indies or any of that shit.
But there is the aspect of like where I'm sure they're trying to kind of get at is like, are you playing games so that you have content for the show? Like we ran into this with like TDP Plus, where sometimes you can feel forced to play games when you're not feeling it. I know in the past, all of the hosts have expressed that with just the regular show as well, wanting to talk about stuff. I remember Nathan would often mention this as well. I don't think I've run into it personally.
I like to try a lot of different stuff, so I naturally am okay with being able to talk about a variety of stuff every week.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I also, in the off chance that I didn't play something, which is rare, I also very much enjoy talking about video game news. So there's always some game news, or there's emails and questions and stuff. Like I just like enjoy doing the podcast, but
the industry stuff. Yeah.
No, I mean like I even cover games as part of my job from time to time, as you obviously know. So it's like I have the interest there, so it doesn't kind of ruin it for me. But I've definitely heard from coworkers and stuff, like when I was at GameSpot and whatnot, where they were saying like, working at this job is making me want to play games less when I'm not at the job and stuff like that. I fortunately have not run into that, but I could definitely see that being the case.
Yeah. But so like, and yes, the average consumer is a we're completely different beasts from the average consumer when it comes to video game intake.
Yeah,
by far.
Yep.
Q Jazzy says, when you feel kind of down and blue, what game or games do you play when you want to lift your spirits?
I don't think I have a go-to game like that I'll always come back to, but it's probably whatever competitive. I guess they're often shooters I'm playing right now, which is in the past it was Apex. Right now it's Overwatch 2 or maybe Exo Primal, because I'm trying to get through that. It's just something that I don't have to like pay much attention to, and I can kind of just turn my brain off.
Yeah,
because it's like it's going to be the same loop that I'm pretty used to. But it's since it's a different match, it's different players. There's just enough there to kind of hold my interest.
Sure. Picross and Mario.
Sure. And and this one requires a bit of setup, so I don't do it often. But like I have Rock Band ready to go at all times.
Sure. Yeah.
Rasterman writes, if you were to stay offline for a week, what would be the first thing you'd catch up on upon reconnection?
My emails. Easy, 100%. I hate having like a bunch of unread emails in my email.
Okay. I don't think I get anything like of interest in my email box. It would probably just be Twitter. I would probably just go through Twitter, and I would probably actually, because I would want to know like what's been going on in like game news stuff, I would probably go to our Discord, because people submit news, and that's kind of a real quick way to get some like interesting news fed directly to me.
Yeah, that's true. Dad writes, will Mario's voice be replaced with an AI? Fucking hope not, man.
I hope not either. They gotta be. Well, actually, Nintendo might be the one company not considering it.
Yeah.
Because I could feel them actually like caring about like respect for the craft.
Well, I mean, I hope you're right. I just don't think anybody has any respect for anything anymore. I hope you're right.
You get up to enough dollar bills, and that's definitely the case. But I hope not too. It seems like it would be too soon.
Yeah.
Lineback, with Martinet now retiring, he's left some very big shoes to fill. Therefore, who should be chosen to perform the insurmountable task that is being the new voice actor of Waluigi? So I guess he did do Waluigi.
Oh, okay.
Also, I forbid the answer of Chris Pratt, as 90% of the internet is apparently under the belief that they are the first ones to make that joke. I think it should be Matt Berry. He would make a fantastic Waluigi. Or Wario. He should do Wario in the movie. That's my vote.
The guy who plays, what's his name? Roddy Rotten or whatever the fuck from Lazy Town.
Oh, he kind of looks like Waluigi. Okay, sure. Doesn't he have a French accent though?
I guess Waluigi is going to France.
Sure, that's true. And he's picking up the dialect.
Oh, he's dead apparently. Wow.
Apparently he's dead.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh, he died from cancer. Well, that's a bummer. Way to go, Paul.
Out of all the people, I picked the one dead guy. God damn it. Endless Beat writes, what's each of y'all's favorite fan-made gaming content you've either seen or played over the years? I'm guessing they mean favorite.
Or just any that you've interacted with. I don't know if I've played like fan games. The only thing that came to mind is I do have that fan translation of the first Rhythm Heaven, that Rhythm Tengoku that just came out in Japan. I have a fake copy of that.
You played Mario Maker?
I don't think I've played much fan stuff.
Fan levels.
Which one?
Mario Maker.
Oh, okay. I guess Mario Maker. Yeah. I guess yeah, sure.
Some of my favorite stuff are the Resident Evil randomizers are great for just remixing that stuff, but it was Kendo's Cut and Kendo's Cut Uncut, Resident Evil 2 hack from like a few years ago. That was fantastic. Been trying some ROM hacks recently, Super Mario ROM hacks, and those are great. There was that Celeste Mario Zap and Dash or whatever the hell it was called, which was Mario 1 with Celeste dashing and wall climbing and stuff like that. That was amazing. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, you definitely play a lot more than I do. Phantom Aegis, what's your favorite dip for chips/crisps?
If I'm going to use dip for anything, it's going to be salsa with like that with chips or whatever. I don't dip usually.
So chips, yeah, it's probably salsa. Like if I get chips at like a Mexican restaurant,
Yeah,
I'll usually try out their salsas. I on my own will put guacamole on a lot of the food that I make. Back when I was eating like Lay's potato chips, like a dill pickle dip, I would use pretty regularly.
Okay, I've had them a few times, but like I don't particularly like them, so I don't buy them. But if somebody has it, I'll have like a couple.
I barely eat chips as it is. Like if we're talking about like what dips I'll put on, like I put most of my salsa intake is like on a burrito.
Okay, sure, makes sense. Or like cheese, I guess. Like I would rather like
make nacho cheese.
Well, no, I would rather like melt cheese on them if I'm gonna do cheese.
Absolutely.
But like there are like queso dips or whatever, which are basically just like cheesy, like spicy salsas or whatever, essentially. So those are usually okay.
Yeah, I ate a lot of that growing up, that's for sure.
Yeah. Ace Viru says, what's the most memorable or recent example of a product hitting you right in the nostalgia bits? Something that makes both kid you and old man you smile with joy. I feel like there was something Baldur's Gate, man. Like that makes me just that makes me feel like a kid again, just playing like a stupidly giant RPG in this world that I like am kind of exploring and wanting to see every corner of and falling in love with these characters or whatever. It's been great.
Pokemon often does this. Like I even start thinking like maybe I should like watch some of the anime again. When I'm doing that. But the one that comes to mind that like hit me extremely hard in this exact way was Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Yeah, Spider-Man stuff in general usually does that for me because I grew up obsessed with Spider-Man and that never really changed too much, I guess. Mega Man games, when they do these like new throwback ones or whatever, I just get that same feeling of like when I was a kid again every time. That stuff's fun.
All right, if you want to send a question in for next week, it's topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What's your game of the week?
Baldur's Gate.
And mine's Immortals of Aveum. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Bye now.
Don't trust a genie.
Don't. Yeah.